welcome to Eat Well, Be Happy. I'm Deborah.
And I'm Roxanne.
And we're going to be making 3 great dishes for you. We're going to be making one of the simplest cookies known to man or woman that you'll fall in love with. Roxanne is going to be making
an organic raw kale salad with pumpkin seed oil.
And then we're going to be finishing that off with a potato lentil salad with steamed broccoli. So we're in for a fun ride today, and we're going to start with the cookie because we need to get that one into the oven right away.
Dessert first.
Dessert first.
Yeah.
So the first thing, I like to make these in a pie plate because I like to serve them in wedges. I just think it's so much prettier than serving them in little squares, and the squares kind of don't look attractive. So I'm going to grease this pan with a little bit of liquid lecithin. And liquid lecithin, as we know, will keep anything from sticking, but particularly when you're dealing with natural ingredients, they tend to have a much higher stick factor. So we want to make sure they don't stick. And I'm going to start, this is a 1 bowl, 1 spoon recipe. I'm using a coconut sugar. And Roxanne and I both love coconut sugar. It's the sugar we use in our kitchen in the store too. And you can see it really looks rustic. It doesn't look like the white processed stuff you buy in the bags in the supermarket. And it is made just as they make maple syrup from the maple tree. So this is made from the coconut palm flour.
And it smells like caramel.
It smells like caramel.
Yeah.
And it also, the most important thing about it, other than the way it tastes and smells, is that it has a very low glycemic index. So someone who really can't do regular sugars, diabetic, would be fine with this. Not that we're suggesting they live on these cookies, but. So we're adding 1 really lovely organic egg, and how do I know it's lovely? Because I love the way it looks.
Yeah.
And we're making these cookies gluten-free as well, which you'll see, which is great for those who can't have gluten, and there seem to be so many people out there who are allergic to gluten. But that's a whole nother discussion. But the vanilla we're using is also a gluten-free vanilla. We want about a tablespoon, and I'm going to kind of do it a little glug.
I didn't know that vanilla could have gluten.
Well, most of the vanillas are processed with a wheat alcohol. That's how they get the vanilla out of the vanilla bean. So this is not using a wheat alcohol, and nor is it adding sugar. A lot of vanillas add sugar as well.
Something you don't think about.
Yeah. So we're just going to do this until the sugar is moist and wet.
And no blender, no mixer
No blender, 1 spoon, 1 bowl.
It's wonderful.
And the thing I like about this recipe is that you can take its formula and make 100 different kinds of cookies. But this one we have 1 cup of the coconut sugar and 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And then we're going to add just a pinch of a real salt, again a salt that has all the minerals and that hasn't been chemicalized or purified, so it just makes our blood pressure go high. And as my flour, I'm going to use a cup of a ground almond meal.
Well, there it is.
Yeah. And the thing about chocolate, it's 1 crop or 1 product that you really do want to buy fair trade and organic. You want to buy it fair trade because there are people throughout the world who are in virtual slavery producing things that we eat. And by fair trade, you're guaranteeing that they're being treated properly, they're getting a fair wage, and also that the crop is being grown in a way that is sustainable. So you hear the buzzword all the time nowadays, fair trade with chocolate and fair trade with coffee, and it is really important with the chocolate and coffee. All right, so that's our cookie. And we're just going to put it into the pie plate very fast. Would have been faster if I wasn't yakking.
Yakking is good.
Yakking is good. And then I'm going to wet my hands to pat it out. I find that this is sticky, but if your hands are wet, it goes much more quickly. Should I try it without? Yeah, see how it's sticking? Okay. So let me get my hands wet.
So it's like making a meatball, so your
Yeah.
hands won't stick.
Absolutely. All right. So that's our cookie. And I think this one needs a chocolate chip over there. Sometimes you look at it and all the chocolate chips or all the walnuts have gone to one side. So it's perfectly kosher to pick them up and move them around.
Disperse them evenly.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to pop this into a 350-degree oven and cook it for about 20 minutes.
Can't wait.
And we'll know that it's done when it begins pulling away from the sides of the pan and when it begins to get brown around the edges.
Sounds great.
So you're going to start that raw kale salad while I
am.
put this into the oven.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I'm going to make an organic raw kale salad today. And it starts with kale, and it has carrots, and it also has avocados and red onion. So the first thing we're going to do is just start by stripping the kale. And again, we just rinsed it and I shook it dry. And now we're just going to shred it into our bowl. And this is a great salad to make when you have company or to get your kids involved, because you get to massage the kale with your hands, and that's how we wilt it just a bit, which is also lots of fun. Who doesn't like to play with food? You like to play with food,
I
don't you?
love to play
Yeah.
with food, you could see. And kale is, of course, king of calcium.
King of calcium. And
So-
it tastes delicious.
Yeah, and I've mentioned before, it's like an internal scrub brush. So if you're constipated, this really works really well.
Okay.
You don't want me to talk about that? Oh, yeah.
It's fine. No one wants to be that condition. So.
No, I always say it's hard to feel romantic, it's hard to feel healthy, it's hard to feel happy if you're constipated. So
That's a good
we live
point.
in a country where too many people are constipated, if you judge by the advertisements that are on television.
Well, yeah, it's hard to smile. And so I'm breaking it off into bite-sized pieces. It keeps trying to run away from me. We're going to capture it back into the bowl. And so we're just stripping, and you can save the stalks to put in a soup stock later, or if you're cooking a broth, it'd be a really good addition to a broth.
But I'm going to put them in my garden
Compost?
composter.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay.
And that's it. Okay.
All right.
And then what we also have is we've gone ahead and washed and scrubbed some organic carrots, which we will put in right over the top.
But we didn't peel them.
We do not have to peel, which is the beauty of having organic product, is no more peeling, just washing, getting the dirt off, and you're ready to go. So that's always a nice savings. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut half of a red onion to go into our salad. And again, if you like red onion, use more. If not so much, you can, cut it back a little bit. Do you like red onion?
I love red
I love it.
onions.
I do too.
I love onions and garlic. I always think if I went to a desert island, what food would I bring? And
Might
I
be
don't know.
that.
I don't know how I could do without the good fats, like the olive oil and butter and all that. But onions and garlic have to be in my top 10.
Yeah. So I'm just going to peel it, get rid of all of our skin. And then it's just a thin slice, so we'll just get some nice strips going. And then that can just get sprinkled over the top of the salad. So it already looks totally gorgeous, I
Yeah.
think, and beautiful. We'll get the rest of our red onion in there. And then the next thing is avocado. And avocados have wonderful fat. It's so good for us to have that kind of fat.
Makes beautiful skin.
Yes, loaded with vitamin E. And for avocados, you want to go ahead and run your knife around them. And then if you just carefully, with a very sharp knife, just tap the pit, it'll come right out, and then you can take it out. And I think maybe these are kind of small, so maybe 2 avocado. You want 3?
We can, however many you want.
I think 2 is good.
I eat a whole avocado myself every day.
They're very good. Will
Yeah.
you hand me a spoon,
Yeah.
please?
There you go.
And to get the flesh out, the fruit, you want to get it away from the skin. So you just go ahead and peel it, and it'll come right out.
Do you know avocados are not, we haven't been eating them that long. They're kind of new to our culture. And I knew someone once who had never had an avocado and thought you had to eat the whole skin.
Oh my.
And he was just being very hard, he was trying so hard to be polite. He said, I don't know why you Americans like these.
And then I'm just going to go ahead and slice them in bite-sized pieces for the salad. And then we're going to start our dressing for the salad. And it's really easy. It gets made in a measuring cup, which I have right here. And it is a half a cup of lemon juice. And then a half a cup of pumpkin seed oil, which comes, we're getting this one from, it's
It's an Austrian pumpkin
Austrian,
seed
yeah.
oil. So the pumpkin seed oil comes from a variety of pumpkin that we just don't grow in this country, so they're hull-less seeds.
It's not what we think of a pumpkin.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's very dark and very aromatic.
And you can definitely smell it as soon as
yeah.
you open the bottle.
Very, very high on antioxidants.
And then for the salad, we prefer to use a Celtic sea salt, which is another lovely real salt. Lots of nutritional properties to it. And we're going to give it a nice, like salt. So in the salad,
It's kind of a gray salt.
yeah. So probably like a teaspoon and a half would be good. And then we're just going to go ahead and whisk it up. Try to dissolve that salt. And then it goes right over your salad. Thank you. And then here comes the fun part. This is where you want to get the kids or, you know, whoever's having dinner with you to help out so they can feel like they're part of the meal. And so with impeccably clean hands, you're just going to go ahead and the heat of your hands is what will wilt the kale. The kale. Sorry. And then here we go. So massage, and we'll have lovely, interesting conversations and all that good stuff.
And plus your hands have that nice moisturizing treatment too. Just as long as you don't get the oil under the fingernails.
And you'll see that you start with a large amount of kale, and by the time we're done, it will actually shrink down. And you'll have less from it wilting a bit.
So how long are you massaging this? A minute, 2 minutes?
A minute or two, it depends. In the wintertime, the kale seems to be more crispy almost, and it
Yeah.
takes longer. And in the summer, when it's more like a lettuce, it's
Yeah.
just a quick, you're in and you're out of the bowl. So I think that's good. We've already, remember I started, it was full and now it's not.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna wipe my hands real quick.
You want the avocado dumped in?
Yep. And there they go. And then again, just another quick, just a toss to disperse them all through the salad.
So when I look at this, boy, is that healthy.
It is healthy and it's so delicious.
It is very
It's so
delicious.
tasty.
Yeah.
It's really good. People who don't like kale, when they have this salad, they're turned. They're converted into loving the king of calcium.
Well, I know kale is very popular now all of a sudden. There are
Yes.
kale chips, there's
Yeah,
kale
there's
this,
lots
there's
of
kale
kale.
that. But I would say I think that we are the only ones who make our kale salad with pumpkin seed oil.
I think you're right.
And now you can too. All
So
right.
that's all set.
So my turn, huh?
All right, your turn.
All right,
Let me
let's
clean up my
just get these things off here.
Yeah.
All right. So I am going to make a black lentil salad, a black lentil potato salad. So in this salad, you know, who doesn't love potatoes? I think, and I also think that we're kind of afraid of eating potatoes now. We're thinking they're not healthy, and they are healthy. But we just need to balance them with other things, and we need to not live on just potatoes alone. So I've cooked what's called a buttercream potato. It's a small yellow variety of potato, and they're called them buttercream because they honestly do taste a little bit buttery. And to that, we're going to be adding about 2 to 3 cups of steamed broccoli. So I have lost my knife, Roxanne, my small paring knife. You know where they are?
I do not.
In the, right next, over there. Thank you. So no matter how much you think you're ready in the kitchen, you're ready to go, something always happens. So I'm just going to, since I couldn't break these easily, I'm just going to cut them a little bit. And
It's a large head of broccoli, actually.
it is a large head. And I want these so that they can be about bite-sized. and they'll look pretty in the salad too. So I don't want to slice them for that reason.
And we're just blanching, or are you actually?
We're just going to steam them.
Okay.
So is that blanch, same thing as blanching? I don't know.
No, but that's okay. It's, two halves of another.
Yeah. And broccoli is one of those cruciferous vegetables that has so many, not only antioxidants are things that prevent our cells from rusting prematurely, so we age before our time. But also it has a lot of cancer preventing properties.
That's wonderful.
So now we're just going to turn that on. And we've got about a cup or 2 cups of water in there. We're just going to cover it and we're going to steam it for just a couple of minutes, just so it's sort of crisp tender. And in the meantime, we're going to cut our red onion.
Oh, there it is
We've
again.
got 2 dishes with red onions.
We're eating together though, so it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We won't offend each other.
Right. And I do think that potatoes have to have onions. I don't know about anyone else, but I like my potatoes with onions.
I do too.
So red onions make your nose run, as we know. And the Latin name for them is Allium cepa. So that is the word for red onion that makes your nose run. Does that look enough? No.
A
little bit more.
Yeah. That looks great.
All right, Ma. So I'm going to add my red onions to the potatoes. And
That
then we're
pop
gonna-
of color is lovely.
yeah. And then we're going to add a black or a blue lentil. So these are Beluga Blacks lentils. And they say the darker in color anything is, the more antioxidants it has, the more nutrition it has. And I don't know if that's true, but I just love the juxtaposition of the different colors. And for me, we eat as much with our eyes as we do with our nose and our taste buds. So this was 1 cup of lentils.
They're so pretty.
Yep. And it was about 2 pounds of potatoes.
Do they taste like a regular, more traditional green
Well,
lentil, or?
I think everything has its own individual taste, and it's just like asking if a red delicious apple tastes the same as another variety of apple. They're all apples, but they each have a slightly different flavor.
That's true.
Okay.
If you couldn't find black, could we use a different color?
Yeah, you could use brown, you could use whatever, except for red that cook and get too soft. Okay, so in our bowl we have our potatoes and our red onion and our black or beluga lentils. Our broccoli is steaming, and while we're waiting for the broccoli to finish cooking, we'll do the rest of the recipe.
Great.
So I'm putting in some dried thyme. Of course, you could use fresh from the garden in the summertime, but the dried is, I think, is wonderful too. And thyme is one of those herbs that they used in the Middle Ages. The grave diggers said that they didn't come down with the plague or they didn't die because they used to wear parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme
Around their necks?
Around their necks. So that's a good thing to remember, so in case we don't want the plague.
Definitely
All
don't
right.
want the plague.
And in this one we're going to use today, we're going to use a smoked olive oil, which is a little bit different. It actually tastes like bacon. So we're making a vegetarian dish here that'll smell like bacon, and we want about a half a cup. So that's going to be.
I love that you're not afraid of oil.
Well,
A lot of people are, just a tablespoon, a
but
pinch.
if we don't give our body the good fats and I think that's about it. If we don't give them enough fat, then they will hold on to fat because the body's trying to protect itself from starving. And not only that, the body will convert starches to fat. So carbohydrates to fat.
So it's important to have a good balance.
It's important to have a good balance, and it's also important to dress your starch here with fat, which again just sort of slows down the digestibility of it, so it keeps your blood sugar more level. All right, so we've got that. We've got our black lentils, our potatoes, our broccoli is doing its thing there. We've got our red onion, and we've got our thyme, and I'm going to use about a tablespoon of good salt. And I think we're going to use, instead of black pepper, I'm going to use grains of paradise, which is a pepper-like substance, but again, it has a slightly different flavor, and it is a really wonderful spice on its own. So we'll just make our potato salad a little different with that.
Exotic.
Exotic. And now I'm just going to check the broccoli, which I think is fine. Do you want to
that's
turn
great.
that off for me, Roxanne? All right, yep. I think I'm gonna, our water's all gone, so we're fine. So I'm just gonna dump this right in.
Okay.
Copper pots are great, but boy, are they heavy.
That was really fast.
Yeah, it's great. All right, so we have everything in here we want,
Very nice.
except for this broccoli that needs to be cut, doesn't it? All right.
So those are the chef pieces. Those are the cook's choice. So
Oh, and
the
I
stalks.
actually meant to give that to you, and I forgot.
That's the treat for being the cook. Is you get the stalk and the guests get the beautiful florets.
I know you said that, and I actually cut them in there, and I meant to save those for you, and instead they went into the pot. All right. So we're just mixing this up. We want everything coated, and we try not to throw things on the counter, but not always successful. All right, would you do me a favor and taste and see if you think there's enough
I would love
salt
to
and enough
taste it.
oil?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going for one of those oil-coated potatoes.
Oh, all right. A little too big. Again, going by the maxim that your pieces should be as big as you can fit into your mouth comfortably, that one was a little too large, but sometimes, does it have enough salt, enough oil? Okay, so we've got that, and we're just gonna put that on the side there, and we are going to check our cookies in the oven.
The smoked olive oil really does taste like bacon.
Yeah, it really
has
does.
this-
So our cookies are done. Nut flours cook a little more quickly than whole wheat flour or whole rye flour or something. They're much more fragile. And you can see it's really sort of soft and tender right now. So right now, we can't cut it. We have to.
Aw, okay.
We have to wait. We have to wait 5 minutes just to be able to cut them. And when we do cut them, we're just going to cut them in, cut this in
Wedges.
quarters, and then each wedge into a half again. And that way we'll have, how many cookies? 12?
okay.
Hopefully 12. Maybe that's 8 the way I said it. But
4 sounds good to me.
all right. But then you'll have a cookie. You'll have a cookie that is high in protein, very low in, you know, the stuff we don't want. So your coconut sugar in here isn't going to destabilize your sugar, although the chocolate chips will try and do that very well. So, all right. So Roxanne, we have made 3, I think, really yummy things.
I think you're right.
Who wouldn't want to sit down and have this as a meal? If somebody wanted chicken or a hamburger or something like that, it would be
Piece of
fine
fish.
too. Piece of fish. But this meal in itself would would really satisfy us because of all the good fats and the lentils.
And the avocado.
Yeah, and the lentils and potatoes kind of make up complete protein as well. So you and I, Roxanne, have made
Rock Hill salad.
a potato salad with black lentils and a chocolate almond cookie with coconut sugar and walnuts.
Yum.
Yum. So from Deborah
And Roxanne.
and from all of us at Deborah's Natural Gourmet, we want you to eat well and be happy because we know you're worth it.